goal. So our goal, I have only 3-4 items to cover. The first thing I want to cover, some repetitions will repeat if statement. Right? We covered last week that, but this time we'll do multi-if statement. So multi-if statement will cover, which is very important. So we'll do some examples and all. Multi-if statement is good for your project. So your project purpose, multi-if statements is good. Many times in interview, people will ask you to write this thing. And I'm sure when you do it, you will understand. The second thing we're going to cover about switch statement. So switch statement is also kind of simple, multiple if statement. So simple, but multiple. So this is we will be covering. After that, we're going to switch the topic. And that is my favorite topic, loop statement. So we will cover loop statement. Now loop means you want to repeat something. If you want to repeat something, right? So when you repeat something, how you repeat? And funny part about it, many people do not know loop statements, so they do a lot of unnecessary hard work. Loop statements will make you more productive, more effective when you do the programming. It is one of the easy statements. I'm sure you will enjoy it. There is no doubt about it. If statement and loop statement is 60 to 70% of coding. Let me repeat. If statement and loop statement is 60 to 70% of coding. What does it mean? If you just watch last week recording a couple of times, do the homework, and this week homework and recording, then I can give you guarantee you already know 60% of programming. The rest of the 30% you can catch up. Make sense or not? These two things, if you are not very clear, then your foundation is weaker. Now you cannot say I'm a programmer, because if you don't know if statement well, and if you do not know how loop statement works, then you will have struggle. I'll be honest with you. My biggest benefit I had was I studied C programming when I studied. So C programming used to have pointers. I mentioned many times that it points to memory. But in C programming, everything memory also you have to walk through loops. And there was a concept in a C programming called array, which I think we'll cover that coming class. So I like array and I like loops because I don't like pointers, because it was at that time our machine was crashing. And when machine crashed, we had to rewrite entire program. That time autosave was not there, and save functionality rarely it works. And when you do save, it takes time. So we used to avoid save, but my program always crashed because of the memory pointer. So my habit was use array and loop instead of pointer. Array become my favorite subject, and loop. And I'm very good in the loop. I'll be honest with you, because most of my activity I do through loop. I don't do through pointer. So anytime when you go in a job market, you will have a loops, and sometime in interview they will ask loops. So we'll cover that. There are many types of loops are there. So we'll cover most likely for loop before we take a break. After break, we'll do while loop, and we'll run out of time. If time permits, I'll do while, but I'm pretty positive we'll run out of time. So do while we'll cover most likely next week. So this might be a cutoff. And I'm going to do a project. So I'm thinking to create a project group today. So you can start working. Your project require extremely for loops and if statement. So if you know that, it will be fine. Project is not due in a couple of days. It is due in 3 to 4 weeks. So you have enough time. But project does require OOP. OOP concept called object oriented programming. Object oriented programming. And this is going to take time. So if I do mathematic model, next week I'm going to do array functions and all. And then most likely 1 and 8, I should be starting object-oriented programming. So if I complete my object-oriented programming, then your project likelihood 15. April 15th will be your project due date. So you have enough time to work on it. But day by day, you get better. Because when you go in a job market, there are projects you will be sharing, right? Many of us do not have project background. The reason I'm giving you projects, so it will help you to think about how you solve the problem. Trust me, if you have not done a project, then you straight go to job, it will be domino effect. You will feel like something is hitting you, because the magnitude of complexity is 10 times to 100 times. Trust me, I work in a real field. Even I teach these classes, right? But some problem it comes, I have to literally think and I have to literally put effort. So like, 2-3 hours I block and do reading, researching, POC, and Saturday, Sunday, 6-7 hours I need to put, because some problems are pretty typical. If you do project here, then when you go to job work, it will be a lot easier. Why? Because you already build muscles. Sounds good or not? So I will request you to do project, because you can also become a Java programmer. Because we are not just teaching Java superficial. We are teaching Java in detail. You never know. You might be interviewed by QA, but you might be selected as a Java programmer. I have seen it happens, because our content is actually Java programmer as well as Selenium programmer going hand to hand. So I would humbly request you do effort for Java project. So far, so good. So let's get started. Before I start, I want to review if statement. So last week, if you remember, last week was a very important thing that we say, if means decision block. So whenever your decision block, you do like this kind of decision block. If statement is a decision block. And in decision block, you send input. You provide your input. And when you provide input, this decision block will check the conditions. If condition is true, then you go this side. If condition is true, you are going one side. And if condition is false, you will be going other side, right? So this is where decision blocks kind of called branching statements. Speak with me, branching statement. For QA perspective, it is very important because you have to write test cases, and that's called branch coverage. Because if you do not know if statement, you cannot be good QA, because if you have more if, means more test cases, and you have to think about what would be my input. So like last week we talked about that if I let's say have a condition, let's say A is greater than 5. If A is greater than 5, and if it is true, then I'm going here. So if I give A value 2, then which side I will go? False side, right? Because in that case, this condition become false. And if condition become false, I'm going this side, right? And we also talk about, if you remember, AND, double AND means if two condition needs to check. If both condition is true, then it's true. Otherwise, it's false. And we also talk about last week OR. If one condition is true, then you will be considered as a true. So we talk about it, and we'll go and multiple times we'll do. Again, there are many ways you can write conditions. Trust me, no matter what you do, you will have if statements, and there is no way you will say, I don't know. I'm pretty confident you will learn it, because there are hundreds of cases you will write if statements, because you're a QA student and your test cases means like this. If actual and expected are matching, if your actual and expected are matching, then test pass, otherwise test fail. So you cannot do QA work without if statement. Make sense or not? Everything you will check. If title is this and selection is this, then go for next. So you will be using if almost in your lifetime, I can tell you. So you make if as a friend. And the loop is more about data aspect. So let me show you where you're going to use loop. So if I go to one of the example, I go to Amazon.com, which is my favorite site. Though recently I bought stock, I will be disclaimer, because it was so cheap and I could not resist, so I bought it. Once upon a time it was $200, $300, but recently it was like $90. So I thought, let me buy it. I hope I will make money. I'll keep you posted. But I like this site. Here everything is loop. So example, if I search basketball, right? So if I search basketball, you will see not one basketball, you will see bunch of basketball. Do you agree or not? So you can see 1, 2, 3. So that's a loop. Whenever you repeat something, that's a loop. Make sense or not? So you can see here, this is also, you're repeating. Do you agree or not? In this page, I can, without hesitation, I can tell you, they might have used 60 to 100 loops. How many? 60 to 100 means this page, only this page, I can, without hesitation, I can tell that they must have used at least 60 or 100 loops just in one page. Think about how powerful if statement is, loop statement is. Make sense? You cannot do programming without if and for loop. Program won't even happen because it's so useful. So think about that. This table, you see this, how nicely table is created. So this is loop 1, loop 2, loop 3, like that. And then this is you can see multiple item coming. So whenever your multiple thing comes, loops are there. Do you guys agree? Now, let me show you your favorite websites, which I think you use everyday basis, Google. Do you guys agree? Now, as soon as I search in Google basketball, and if I press enter, you will see lots of link, right? You're not going to see one link. Do you guys agree? What is that? That's a loop, right? So what happened? This is 1, then this is 2. Do you guys agree or not? And if you scroll down, you will see like lots of things. All those news are loops actually. In order to display, you are using loops. Make sense? So all those things are loops, right? So loops are everywhere. Anytime you go to Netflix, you see lots of movies. Yes or no? That's a loops. If you go to news, that's a loops. Trust me, loops are so intertwined in every day. So you will use loops often. Sounds good? Before we jump into loops and all, we want to make sure we start step by step our category. So right now, why don't you start your computer and we'll do first if statement and then we'll do multiple if statements. Okay, so why don't you go through and then we'll do multiple if statements. So I'll show you how we are connecting the dots. So start your NetBeans. Once your NetBeans is up, just give me thumbs up. So at least I know the NetBeans is up and we can get you started. Awesome. Good, thank you. While you're opening, what do you call, your computer, I want to show you something. My first assignment in America about loops, I'm not sure it will be there. I did it in 25 years back, so it may not be there, but concept I can show you. So what happened is I used to work for IBM, and part of IBM, they placed me in Chrysler. So we had a build and price. This was, that time also it was there, build and price. So this is the application I used to work. Now, if I click here, they have like now different site, but there was a 6-7 loops. So you can see here, this is the condition if statement. Do you guys agree? If 2022, then you will see that type of vehicle. So there is a 2 condition. If year is 2022 and vehicle name is Pacifica. So 2 condition. Do you guys agree or not? Or you can say, or if year is 23 and this, right? So if I click on 23, you see this thing. You guys agree or not? And if I click here, you will see by default, this is a selected. So if I click here, you can see that. And if I click here, I see that. Make sense or no? So my problem was this site was different that time. So we used to have like this. Let me explain. You may like it. We used to have, first you have to select brand. We have to select brand. Brand, I'm sure you know, Chrysler is a brand, Dodge is a brand, and Jeep is a brand. So how many brands we have? 3 brands. So first was the brand. So we have to do brand. And when you select brand, then we had year. Year means you have to select year. Right now they are showing year this way, right? That time it was a drop down. So that time they normally show current year, last year, and previous year, because you know that car you can buy like that. You cannot go too old because that's the way they don't sell like old car. So that's another drop down box. So far so good. So first is the brand, second is the year. Then we had another drop down called we used to call name tag. So here this is called family. Family means Pacifica. Family means PT Cruiser. Family means sibling. So those are family. And from family, then there was a drop down box we call model. Model means base model, SXT model, sports model, family model. Then there will be a drop down box where we call options. So options means like example, if you have like package 1, package 2, there are different options there. Then there was a color. So all those are loop within loop, within loop, within loop, within loop, within loop. Are you understanding? It was so complex. So before me, 3 team member was assigned and many of them left job right away because it was so difficult because everything we have to write in Java or JavaScript, Java and JavaScript. And the people who were not understanding, I'm telling real professional people working for IBM, they could not write because if you make a mistake in one loop, you will have suffer because you have 9 loops. It's called nested loop, loop within loop within loop within loop. You'll see today I'll teach you two nested loop only. I'll teach you only two nested loop, and you will see how interesting it becomes. I'm using word interesting. We are talking about 9 loops. Your hair comes out, and trust me, I was very lucky that I had this assignment and I completed in less than 2 days because loop is my favorite subject, and that gave me confidence, super confidence. I can do almost anything. That confidence because in first project, and that was the project I was given. What I'm trying to say that you will be using loops. So if you go to different sites, different ways you will be using loops and if statement. They goes hand to hand. And you will see today, I'm going to try to give you that perspective. So I'm hoping you have now net been open. So let's get started. We'll create a first project with the if statement and we'll convert into multiple if statement. So let's go to file menu and new project. File menu and new project. File menu and new projects. So file, new project. And I'm sure you have Java Maven or Maven with Java or Java with Maven. You will be selecting this one, right? I will be selecting this because I have this different thing. Okay, so Java with Maven. Make sure you select that. So now if you go next, you will be asked the project name. When you did homework, I'm sure you understood a lot of Maven related thing. I made a typo. Thank you, Mahashweta. I somehow made a typo in my homework. It was a Maven. There was weird spelling I wrote. I don't know what was that, but it was Maven related question. So many students kind of figured it out. Thank you for your understanding. Because when I do this thing, I'm kind of half sleepy, like either late night or early morning. And so please accept my apology there because I made a mistake. I'll correct it. But there was a mistake in my one of the question. So here I will write a project name. Let's say grade, because I want to teach you grade report today. So grade. This is very popular problem people ask in interview also. So we'll do that as well. Great. Now, we are not changing all we discussed last week all, but please understand project will become your artifact. And snapshot is nothing but working in progress. And normally when you complete your work, you will have a 3 digits, complete 3 digits, right? So this 3 digit means the final version, which we call release version. What we call release version. And snapshot is a working in progress. When you are giving it to customer, you always give a final version. You don't give a release version, snapshot version. Okay? Now let's do finish. Now at this moment, I will have my projects on the left side. You will see the grade project will show up on the left side. You can expand the plus sign and see the project details. Expand, and you will see the project detail. Got it? Now, when we start our project, we normally select project in a package. So we have already talked about many times, but just worth repeating, one project can have many packages and one packages can have many programs. Make sense? So project, package, and program. Now, right click here, right click on your package, and create a Java class, new Java class. Right click, new Java class. Right? Now, when you say right click new Java class, I'm going to give name. So here I'll say G capital grade. Remember, class name is always first letter is capital. Good so far? Sum and finish. So when you finish you will have class. Some of you may have main method. I will not have main method, but we will add. But though if you have main method, you can use it. I do not have. So some of you may have a grade class written with the main method here. If you already have, you can use it. You don't have to create again. But for me, I don't have it. So I'm going to add it. Remember one thing, interview question, exam questions, package is always first line. Can I put package here? No. If you do, it will error out. So package is always first. And you can see this thing is called multi-line comment. The gray color is multi-line comment. So if you do forward slash and if you do star, right? And then you write that and then star, that's a multi-line comment. If you say forward slash and 2 star, this is called document comment. Speak with me. Again, sometimes in interview people throw it just to see how good you are. Document compartments, when you run your program, Java create a document they call Java doc. Java doc. Again, it's not important for you. If you are developer, then it is very important. So Java docs. If you write a comment, this is called class level comment. You can write method level comment. So it will create a document. So your document will be readable. So the people who are Java programmers, they more focus on comments. We also use forward slash forward slash. That's called internal comment. So this is kind of high level comment, multi-line. This one is Java doc. This is the inline comments. Again, we use mostly inline because we are writing small program. But when you write a bigger program, you will be using like a multi-line comments, Java doc comment, and you will be using inline comment. So let's write a main method. Again, always you write a program inside your two curly bracket, which is your main class, right? You write inside and you kind of press enter and then get started. Java is case sensitive. So let's start with the main method. Public means anybody can access it. Public means anybody can access. Static means as soon as the program runs, it comes in memory. Static means anytime when I run the program, it comes in memory. So remember, there are two types of things. I want to make sure I take time and explain that. Please understand. When you run a program, so program is this one. This is the grade is the program, right? And this one, which I'm trying to do, is a method. Method is nothing but small program inside the program. So method. Now you have two choice. The class, which is the program, when program comes in memory, at that time, do you want method to come in memory at the same time? If yes, then you do static. If not, then you don't write static. Now you will not understand at this moment because I have not covered that concept, but just want to make sure. If let's say I go to airport, and when I go to airport because I'm flying, I'll take with me, what should I take? Passport and ticket. Yes or no? But sometime I forget something. So if I forget something, I need to come back. Yes or no? And that is called exception. I forgot, let's say something. Maybe I forgot my bag. That's called exception. So you have to think about purpose. So sometimes you are traveling and your baggage may follow you. Do you guys agree or not? Sometimes you do that. You just travel and then you have your baggage follow. Baggage follow means it may come maybe week after, month after. So if you are going to do that, in that case, you don't have to do static. So there are two things, static, please pay attention, static and instance. Static and instance. Instance means, so example, when I say static, please pay attention, 2 minutes, it will help you. If I say static, that in this program, you will only have one copy. You only have one copy. Now you say, what does that mean? So think about that. I'm in a classroom right now, right? So I'm only one copy. So everything is static. But if you create a clone of me, if you create a clone of me, so like if you create a clone, remember we talked about last week new. Remember scanner, we were creating copy. So if I create a new, so now I have another program, but static doesn't matter how many clone you create. How many clone you create, static will remain one. Make sense or not? So even though I create a 50 copy, static will remain one. They all will be sharing. Make sense? Now, if I don't do static, then each program will have its own copy. Make sense? So when should I need that? It's a little harder topic. I'll cover that later, but I just want to make sure. Static means as soon as your program goes in memory, this method will come in memory, right? So it goes along with the program. It's kind of good thing, but you should not do all static, because if you do all static, it will capture your memory and your program will become slow. Make sense? So we'll talk about that in detail with examples so you will understand. So static. Now void means, everyone knows void check. Do you guys know void check? What is void check means? Ella, what is void check means? Void means what? Can I use that? Can I deposit it? No. Void means this check is not going to work, right? So here void means no return. Speak with me. No. Means if I call this method, it's not going to give me any return. We'll cover next week more detail about return and not return. What is the difference? But right now, I just want to take opportunity. Void means no return. Speak with me. No return. So what is no return? You will cover next week. Then main. Main is the method name. Can I use different name? No. Because this is a very specific name Java use. So Java go to this method and run. This is the first method Java will call. Inside parenthesis, you write S capital string. Inside capital S capital string, and then you write args parenthesis rectangle, and after curly bracket, press enter. Make sure you have this knowledge because this is sometimes in your exam is very well asked. Main, it has to be main. It's a case sensitive. You cannot do uppercase, lowercase. In parenthesis, you are doing string S capital, and then arguments rectangle bracket. Make sure you have rectangle bracket, and after parenthesis complete, you do curly bracket and press enter. Curly bracket and press enter. Makes sense, right? So far so good. Now, Arthur, you can do increase the temperature. See, feel good. You know the controller is on next to the door. That side.
Right, right.
Yeah, increase a little bit. I don't want you to guys fall asleep. Good? Did okay, perfect. So here I don't feel cold, but I know that if you're close to window, definitely there might be air coming. Okay, so everyone is good with this? Okay. Now let me take an opportunity and write a simple if statement, and then we'll make it complex. So let's say my variable is grade. Int grade. Let's say I say 55. So I got 55. So this is my data types, and this is my variable, and this is my value. So this value I'm assigning. Remember last week we talked about 1 equal means assign. Assign means giving value. And 2 equals means comparing value. Make sense or no? So when you use logical statement, you do 2 equals. If statement 2 equals, otherwise you are assigning value. Now I'm going to write a condition. So if in parenthesis grade is less than 60, then parenthesis curly bracket start, press enter. After curly bracket, make sure you press enter. Always remember, whenever you do if statement, you will have parenthesis, and after parenthesis, you do curly bracket and press enter. Make habit of that. It will be very helpful. If has its own curly bracket, main has its own curly bracket, and class has its own curly bracket. I never have a problem with the curly bracket. The students who use curly bracket start and press enter will never have a problem. But the students who do not press enter, they will miss the curly bracket. Now they will have magic stars. As you go further, remember the 9 loops I was talking about? 9 loops. Remember, Chrysler? The most problem was curly bracket, I can tell you. But that time, we did not have like an IDE like NetBeans. We used to write program in Notepad. We used to write program in a Notepad. So it is a nightmare to find out where is the curly bracket missing. But you know my habit. After curly bracket, press enter. So I never had a problem. But most of the team member who do not have this kind of understanding, only few curly bracket cause them couple of weeks of problem. And when you don't complete the program on timely manner, then you will have a label that you are slow. Make sense? So why to go that side? Just press enter after curly bracket. So it will automatically match. NetBeans does pretty good job. If you highlight it, it will automatically tell you, right? So you will know right away that is matching or not. Again, that time we did not have NetBeans. Now here, write S out and tab, S out and tab. And here you can write pass. And after its curly bracket, we'll write else statement. After curly bracket, we'll write else statement. Else curly bracket, press enter, and we'll say S out fail. Oops, my mistake. I should say fail here, right? I don't want to give a wrong grade, right? Should I? No. It will be in the news. Hey, look at that. I got 65, but still failed, right? I don't want to be like that. So here, if grade is less than 55, then this condition will be true. If you are less than, then you will say fail. Else, you have its own curly bracket. You see that's nice curly bracket thingy. Make sure you have curly bracket part well understood. This is your if statement. This is your main statement, and this is your class statement. Make sure you don't make mistake on curly bracket. Rest of the thing, everything is easy. So now, grade is 55, yes or no? Condition is true or false? True. It means you should expect fail. But if I do grade 65, what will happen? In that case, pass. So let's save the program. Click on the floppy icon, save your program. After you save it, right click and run and say, ta-da! Program runs. You know this thing we talked about last week. So there is nothing special I'm covering. But you can see that program works and you won't have any problem. If you have a question, please do ask. But my program is running and I'm getting result. Good. Now this is called basic if statement. Interview question. If statement is mutual exclusive. Speak with me. What is mutual exclusive means? Mutual exclusive means you can have either pass or fail. In our case, we got fail. Do you guys agree? Why we got fail? Because the grade was less than 60. So the condition become true. And when condition become true, you got a fail. Make sense? So you can get one of them, not both of them. Yes or no? Mutual exclusive means like if you're a coin, right? You do tail or head. You cannot both. You cannot get both. Do you guys agree or not? So if I change this value to let's say 75, in that case, is this condition going to be true? No, it will go to else block. And if I run it, it will be, in that case, you will pass. Now, so far, no issue. I'm hoping everyone understand, but if you have a question, please do ask. People on phone, if you are clear, give me thumbs up. If not, ask questions. So I got my answer here, pass. I'm hoping everyone is clear, right? Crystal clear. Now, if you're very clear with this, I'm going to modify this program and changing to multiple if statements. So what is multiple if statements? So let's understand. So you all have studied in some school or college, you know that 0 to 59. 0 to 59, you get a grade F. But 60 to 69, right, you get D grade. 70 to 79, you get C grade. 80 to 89, you get B grade. And 90 plus, so 90 to 100, you get A grade. Do you guys agree or not? This is something rubrics we follow. Do you agree? By the way, majority schools or colleges follow this. This is looks like a range. So when you have a range kind of like this, where you have specific partition, right? We have studied, if you remember QA, we call BVA, right? Partition. So when you're doing partition, so this is 0 to 59. Any value in 0 to 59, even I give 1, 2, 3, 4, anything I give, I'm going to get only one answer. Even 59, I'll get only one answer. But if I do 60 to 69, any 63, 64, I'll get this answer. So this is the multiple if statement. Now, these are also mutual exclusive. If you are 52, means you can go here only. Yes or no? And if you are, let's say 89, if you're 89, in that case, you will only go this side. Do you guys agree? So how to write multiple if statements? It is very simple, but only one humble request. As soon as you do curly bracket, you have to press again. Everyone has to speak. If you don't do it, you will start seeing the pain right away. Only person will not be able to write program, a person who write curly bracket and closing curly bracket by herself or himself, because we will have around 15 to 20 curly brackets. Okay. You can make life easy. After first curly bracket, just press enter and it automatically match it properly. Otherwise, you will end up spending time in curly bracket. Remember my friends who were working, they had the same mistake. It cost them a job. We should not make mistake. And once you make this habit, you will have zero problem. Sounds good? So let's get started. We are going to back here and we're going to remove this highlight and remove this portion. Highlight and remove this portion, so you're back to business. So only I remove this thing. I did not remove curly bracket for main and I did not remove curly bracket for class. I just highlight and delete that. So I deleted that portion. Make sense? Okay, so now I'm going to write conditions. I'm going to go a little slow. So I'll write a couple of conditions and rest you will write. So that way you can understand it. So first I'm going to write like this. Check it out. If parenthesis starts And then I'll say grade is less than 60. What does it mean? When I say less than 60, what does it mean? 0 to 59, right? So far so good. And then I'll start a curly bracket, and then what am I going to do? Press enter. So first conditions, I start the condition here, and then after curly bracket, I press enter. Make sure you make a habit. So that is the first condition. So if grade is less than 60, in that case, pretty clear, S out, and I'll say F grade. Any questions so far? Pretty easy, simple, right? Now, after curly bracket, see on the screen, after curly bracket, we're going to write else if. Please make sure you see on the screen so you don't make mistake. After curly bracket, this if statement is clear here. And after curly bracket, we're going to write else if. And then another condition, grade less than 70. And then curly bracket start, press enter. So now you say, what did you do that? So here I'm saying, if you are entering anything 60, this is fine. But what if you are entering anything 60 or all the way to 69? In that case, this condition will become true, because after this else if means you can only come to here if it is above 60 and below 70. Make sense? So what I write, else if, and then I write a condition. These two conditions will go hand to hand. If it is 55, first condition. But if it is 62, this will not go, it will go to here. 62 less than 70, yes. So in that case, we'll write S out and tab, and then we'll say D grade. Make sure you follow the curly bracket by pressing enter, and you will have zero problem. After curly bracket, when you start, you press enter. Make sure you understand this statement you only get if it is less than 70, but definitely greater than 60. Do you guys agree or not? Because if it is less than 60, it will go here. But if it is greater than 60 and less than 70, it will come here. Now, what should I write here? Could you help me here? Else if grade less than 80. Do you guys agree? Curly bracket start, press enter. S out, and here we'll say C. So you can see nicely curly bracket is here. I write program in a formatable form, so it's more readable. It's always a good idea to have program in a format form. Now, another condition. What would be the next condition? Else if grade less than 90. And curly bracket start, press enter. In that case, B. And I would say rest of the things else curly bracket, and I'll say S out A. Why did I write else here, not else if? Any reason? Why am I writing else at the end?
Because that's the last option.
Yeah, because anything above 90, I'm going to give you grade A. Yes or no? Because some colleges give 105. So why would I write condition, right? I think anything above 90, I'm going to give you grade A. Make sense? So else means anything above 90, you will get grade A. So now, remember one thing, match the curly bracket in case if you're still having a problem. Don't just type curly bracket. Make sure you understand curly bracket. Curly bracket has to match. And this curly bracket is for if statement. And this is for main. And this is for class. If you can do this exercise without any problem, I want to say thank you. You understood how curly bracket works. If you are having a problem here already, it means you're not listening to me. You're not following the curly bracket. Now your day starts beginning. You will start seeing more problem. And I'll be honest with you, habits are good type of thing. Good habit become good and bad habit become worse. Do you guys agree or not? So make sure you don't make any bad habit. I will tell you by curly bracket, Java will be very happy because Java loves curly bracket. And if you make mistake in curly bracket, you cannot win because Java is going to create a challenge for you. Good. So at this moment, everything looks good. Let's save the program. and run the program. And when you run the program, save it and run it. So your program, what should we expect now? 75 means C grade, right? C grade. So if I run the program, I should expect C grade, and hopefully I will get C grade. Though I only got C grade and D grade in my career before sixth grade. Sixth grade, before sixth grade, mostly I was getting C, Ds. I was like D's type of student. But after seventh grade, I always remain A grade. The magic happened. Light bulb started somehow. So miracle happened. But anything, no one likes C grade, at least here, because just as FYI, most company, when they provide education assistant, with all of you, when you work in a big companies, I'm sure you will. If you work hard, you will work in a big company. They provide education assistant. Almost every company provide education assistant. They give around $7,500 each year for education. All the things you are studying here, if you are working, you can talk to your employer and they will give you reimbursement. I'll tell you, it's a free, they will give you money. If you are working, just tell them, hey, I'm improving, because company get double tax deduction. They call continuous education development credit company gets. So most company gives you, but that has one condition. You have to get grade B or A. If you get a C, they don't give you they don't give you reimbursement. Make sense? So that's why that is another reason we need to work hard. Sounds good? Now, instead of this, if I want to make my program dynamic, where user enters and my grade change, what should I do? Scanner. And you know very well scanner, so let's write here. So we're going to say S capital scanner, and we'll say SC equal to new scanner, and in parentheses S capital system.in, where system.in for keyboard. And you will see, you will have error, which you're going to import the class. So remember, scanner S capital, system.in S capital. So this system.in is your keyboard. You're reading the keyboard through scanner. New means you're creating your own copy. So you're creating your own copy of scanner. And this is your type of scanner you're doing. Make sure you import the class. It is coming from Java util. So when you import it, you click on the light bulb and you just import. When you import, the library will be added in your class. You can see on the top, error will disappear. The library is added. So what we are saying that this scanner class we are using from this library Java util. Here we are saying this is my copy and my variable name will be SC and I'm reading keyboard. So now I'm reading keyboard. But before I type, I want to tell user what to type. So I'm going to say S out and say enter grade. Enter grade. So user is going to see that and they're going to enter. And when they enter, I'm going to capture that thing in a variable called grade here. So it's a grade equal to sc.next int. Next int where I capital. So if you see here, what we are saying here, read keyboard, ask user to enter the grade. When user enters, that will be a numeric value, will go to the variable, and then you use variable in your program. So now everything looks pretty neat. And we discussed more last week also. But you can see how powerful the scanner is now, because it is asking user to enter, and then we'll go through the multiple if statements here. So program get more shape right now. So if you save now program, run it in your console, you will see it will be waiting for you to enter grade. In your console, it will be blinking, it will be blinking, it will be blinking, and you will be entering the grade. I want to enter 91 and see if I get a grade A. So
I just have a question regarding
sure,
this scan.
91. Yep, go ahead. And I got grade A.
Yeah,
Yes.
so do we have to create a new scanner for every entry we are making?
Not every. You only wait one time, just one time, because this is
I have
only
a
one
problem
time.
while writing the username and password, and I have to literally create three scanners for them.
No, it means you have to watch last week. Remember, that's why I'm giving you recording here. It's pretty easy, right?
Okay.
Go back and see here, recording. I hope you attended last week class too, right?
Yeah, but
So last week we did this thing, username. We only do one time scanner, only one time, and then we don't use it. So I think I have an example here. I think I added in the Google class also. Let me just pull out for you. You don't do multiple scanner, just one time. If I have not submitted, I'll submit it. I think I submitted, but just double checking. So if scanner and I did think, I forgot about where did I did, but I did. But if you have problem anytime, you might have problem with variable, because scanner, you start reading, then just pop up like that, enter username and use next and use username. And then again, you do say enter password and SC next. These variable you don't have to repeat again because you have only defined one time. Make sense or no?
Yeah, okay. I'll try again then.
Yeah, if you have a problem, remember, very, very simple. You can email me anytime.
Okay.
Never ever hesitate.
Okay.
I'll be instantly helping you. Okay.
Thanks.
Email me
Yeah.
anytime. Okay. Also use WhatsApp group. So I'll also help you in a WhatsApp group. But anytime you have, don't wait for a whole week. Just drop me an email. I always check email more frequently. So respond to
No, the
it.
program eventually worked, but it's just that I created 3 scanners for 3 different entities.
Yeah. If you have program, you can put in a chat also. I can just quickly help you.
Yeah, sure.
If you have, yeah, then we can help you. But anyway, while we are doing that, any questions? If our program is working, do you guys agree?
Yes.
And if you run again, you can enter different value. Your program become dynamic and multiple if statement is in front of you. It's quite easy, very helpful. I use multiple if statement a lot. Yes, sir.
Tushar, quick question is a silly one.
Mhm. Yes, sir.
I saved the program, but when right click, the run file option is disabled. I forgot how to fix that.
You only can fix the thing by make sure you save it.
I saved it.
Yeah, and make sure your class is, this is capital, right? This is capital,
Yes.
and there is a main method properly written. If it is not written correctly, you will not get the run button. So example, you made a mistake here. Let's example, if I make main one, now if I save it, I will not be able to run it. So this is main is gone, right? So if you have this problem, sometimes, creating a new class will solve your problem. So right click, new Java class, and get started like that. It will solve that problem quickly.
Okay.
Make sure there is no error. So this is a couple of issue can happen.
Okay.
One is the class name capital. One is the main method name has to be proper. If you have problem, just right click and create a new class, and I'll paste my program there so you can use it.
Okay. I have the program. Everything is fine. No errors there. Thank
No
you.
problem. I'll
Okay.
put this program in a chat room.
Okay.
So that way you can at least get going from there.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
What if it doesn't display the output in the console? You
Yeah.
run it and like
It
the cursor just blinks.
You have to enter value.
No, it would give you that.
Sorry.
It works on the Mac. I don't know if the Windows setting it.
No. Please understand. When you enter the value,
No, but it's not giving me that option at all to enter. In my Windows, in my Mac, it was working. So
it should allow. Windows, we are
I
using.
think that's somebody online last week. Was after you run the program,
Uh-huh.
you
You press, you click, no, it works. Go to console and press enter. It will show up. Say yes. No, try again. No, try.
So we're supposed to enter ABC or?
No. We enter numeric value. Because that is what you are checking, right? No, I'll check it. But you enter grade 60, 61, 62 like that, and system will give you this answer. You don't enter this.
this program is working. Homework that I did.
Yeah, so you have to sometime. No. It's, see, please understand. Java is a platform independent, right? So sometimes, what happened? You just press enter. So please understand. I know this is happen most of the time. When you go home, when you have a program, run it and press enter. Sometimes if you don't press enter, its cursor is not visible. So you might think it's not working, but what happens is waiting for your enter. So you may want to click here and press enter, then it will start. It happens support sometimes. Okay. Silpi, you have questions, right? So what's the
I
question
will
here?
send you in the mail. I'm not.
Okay,
able to
no,
copy it
no
now.
problem,
Okay.
no problem.
Yes,
But can I
sir, I
count?
made a new one and it's working
Uh-huh.
now. Thank you.
Perfect, perfect. Everyone is good? Yes. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
There is some kind of an issue with printing out the line and then the input statements. Like except getting the carriage return, which creates some errors.
Sorry, could you repeat? I'm not clearly understood the question.
I had ran into some issues on the homework where you would do a print instead of a print line.
Uh-huh.
And it would, and there was some issue where, and I have to go back and look at it, but there was an issue where the input statement is like picking up the carriage return from the previous statement.
Yes. Yes. So it happens a lot, Mike. Let me explain. So if I run this program, right? If I run this program, and this program is expecting numeric value, yes or no? But if I let's enter spelling or press enter, then it will error out because it was expecting numeric value. But I enter, let's say I enter some spelling or something else, then it will error out because what you are expecting here is integer value. So like example, I end up doing, let's say, just accidentally I put X. And if I press enter, what will happen? I will have error, right? So this is very normal. This is normal because anytime you enter, you have input mismatch error. So this is very normal. So anytime you need to be careful what you enter, otherwise you have to write exception handling, which I'll cover that after 2 class, exception handling. No, that's called initialize, not hard coded. This is the initialize, but then we are reading from the user. So this will be the one will be taking effect. This is a default one, right? This is considered as a 0 basically. It can be 0 because here you are giving this, right? So you are actually overriding the default value. Good. Any other questions? Anila, you were able to run it? I hope you enter 65, 70, 73. So this is very powerful. Now let me give you the application. Many times what will happen, we write a program and we make program running and we don't think about applications. And this is where I want you to think about applications. So like example, where can I apply this concept? I'm learning, but where can I apply this concept? Give me an example. Sorry? School? No, school. Sorry, my mistake. This program is for school, but give me similar example where multiple if statements can be used in a different domain or different business or different cases.
Bank.
Give me an example. Bank is the name. I need an appropriate example. In a bank, how you will use it?
If somebody's checking balance is less than 1,500, then you charge fine. Or if somebody's saving balance is about certain money, then you give them interest.
Right, very good. Or
Bonus calculation for a worker.
so you can, in a bank, you can have like this. If your mortgage loan, if you ask loan, if your mortgage loan is, let's say, less than 300,000, then maybe you will need this paper. But if your mortgage loan is $3 million, which is called jumbo, then you need this thing. If you're 10,000, do this 10 million like this, so you can do that part. Make sense or no? Now let's think about FedEx. So FedEx, you are going through the box, yes or no? And when you go to FedEx, they will have, if your box weight is this, then this is the cost. If your box weight is this, so you give a range, right? Box weight is this, then you get this. Make sense or no? Same thing, FedEx, think about distance. If your distance is this much, you will have this much rate. If your distance is this much, yes or no? So these are called multi-if statements. A lot more people are using that multi-if statements. So if you are buying, let's say somewhere you buy, let's say 0 to 50, you will get this discount. 50 to 100, you will get this discounts. Make sense or no? So as your volume increase, discount also increase. So multiple if statement is very, very popular. Sounds good? Yeah. I hope you are clear. Any questions, concerns before I go to the next topic? People on phone, any question, concerns, doubts so far? So far, so good? Now, I want to show you, I want to show you another. I want to show you another program. So I'm going to, what am I going to do? Please pay attention. Hello, hello. Do it. Do it. I don't have a problem. Yeah. I can see that. Okay. So now we are going to create a program called switch statement. So what's the difference between this? This if statement is very powerful because you are using less than, greater than, equal to, less than, greater than, equal to. A lot of things you can use in switch statement. If statement, sorry. In switch statement, you have switch bar. Please pay attention. If your switch bar and one switch has a predefined task. So if switch has a predefined task, you only can do one task. So example, 1 means fan, 2 means light, 3 means air condition, and fourth means heater. Yes or no? Yeah. I'm explaining. Right. So if your switch statement, you can only do one. You cannot do greater than, less than. So switch statement is very simple. If you want to apply a one condition rather than write if statement, switch statement is quite easy. Sounds good? So let's create a new program and we'll do that quickly. Okay. So let's do file, new project, file, new project. Now you will go a little fast because we spent enough time for first program. So you will be doing Java Maven. I'll do it in my Maven. Next. And here we'll say my switch statement. I'm teaching these things. So I'll use, I use switch 4 because I've been teaching for many time. So I use the project name, my switch. You don't have to use 4 because you're doing first time. I'm doing 4th time, right? My switch. Okay, ready? Okay. Now finish. Now in this exercise, I have program here. I'm going to expand this thing so you can see that. So you can see nicely program is expanded and you have this thing. Now, anytime when I write a program, what I normally do, I pick a class, so package, and then we'll see it, create a new class. So let's do it. So right click, new Java class, right click, new Java class, right click, new Java class. So when I say right click, new Java class, it will have opportunity. What is the class name? So here I'll use my switch, M capital switch, my switch, and S also capital. You can write one, doesn't matter. But if you have multiple name, you can use a camel case. So my switch, I use my switch, one word, okay? You can write anything you want, but this is more meaningful. I'm using here. Remember, first letter has to be capital, right? My switch. And then you finish. And what normally I do is now, because we are already discussed enough, I'll go back to the previous program and I'm going to take the main method logic. So you can see on the screen, I highlight this thing and copy this. So I don't have to keep typing this. Make sense or no? So just copy this. Once you copy that, go back here and put inside and press enter. Press enter. Give me thumbs up if you are here. So baseline is there. This thing I will not repeat now often because this is, I already repeated 10 times plus, right? Maybe 100 times, not 10. Right? Every time I explain, but this thing is our second nature now. We have to do this thing often. So you should know about it. We have been talking about that. You should not make mistake here. If you make mistake here, you're not really following because we've been doing for a while. Now here I'm going to write a logic. So please understand. Let's say somebody say today is a weekday, and let's say today's weekday is 1. So 2, 3, it is not descriptive, right? So I will say 1 means Sunday and 2 means Monday. Let's say if I want to do that, right? So this is numeric value, yes or no? And we are converting that to spelling. I can write if it is 1, then Sunday, but there are too many if statements. It won't look good. So we can convert into switch statements. It is easier because it looks good and it's easy to follow. So check it out. I'm defining a variable int day equals to 1. So I started day equal to 1. Now I'm going to use switch statement. So see the syntax first of all, switch, and inside that you just say day and curly bracket start, press enter like that. So first thing first, you pass variable here and then your curly bracket start and press enter. Anytime you start curly bracket, make habit, close it. So far so good. Now switch statement itself is a multiple if statement, but those are easy to follow, easy to write. Each day has a one name. So 1 means Monday, 2 means Tuesday, right? So switch statement is very popular because it's so simple. So when you go to what do you call ATM, there's a switch statement. When you go to McDonald's, there's a switch statement. Number 4, number 3, number 4. These are switch statements. Means when you say number 3 in a vending machine, you get number 3 item. Yes or no? Because one choice, one number. So switch statements are everywhere. Elevator. In elevator, you go, there are a lot of switches are there. Right? When you press 15, you can go to 15. Yes or no? But if you end up going to 50, then it's called malfunction. Make sense or no? So every time we are using switch statement, ATM machine is a switch statement, elevator is switch statement, McDonald's or other places where you go, you are using switch statement every day. So we are saying case 1. So if case 1, so if it is 1, then we'll say colon, then say s out tab, 1 means Monday, and then we'll say break. In your exam, there are 4 or 5 questions will come from these statements. So I want you to understand that. So we are saying case 1, this is 1. So we are saying case 1, then we are saying colon. Make sure you understand colon. So if the day which you enter, and if day is 1, then colon means start. And I'm saying S out Monday, and then you will say break. Break means come out. You can only do one task at a time. In switch statement, you can only do one task. So you just come out. Break means come out. Make sense? So if case 1 colon Monday break. So if I have case 2, what should I write? Case 2 colon, and then you can write system. I'm just doing space for readable purpose. You don't have to do, but I'm just doing so you can read better. So here I'll say Tuesday and then say break. Make sense or not? So I'm creating a cases and see how beautiful it is, readable. If it is 1, I'll go here. If it is not 1 and if it is 2, I'll go here. Yes or no? But at a single point of time, you can only do one case, and then breakout means you come out from switch statement. So you're coming out from switch statement. So switch statement will, when you do break, you come out. Right? Every case statement has to have a break. If you don't do break, short circuit will happen. I'll show you that. Make sense? Now, if I, let's say, I can repeat that for case 3, case 4, case 5. I'm not going to do all, but let's say I'm going to copy this thing because I can save my time. I can copy this. Please see on the screen, because one thing I can tell you, if you're using computer, learn how to copy paste, because you can save so much time. Yes or no? That's a very important thing, because I'm going to copy and I'm going to say, I'm going to repeat that quickly. So I can repeat that because I don't have to do 3, then 4, then 5 and 6. How many days we have? 7, right? So we'll use 7 and I'm removing the last one, right? 7. And then we'll change the day, Monday to Tuesday, Wednesday. So I'll say Wednesday here, and here I'll say Thursday, and here I'll say Friday, and here I'll say Saturday, and here I'll say Sunday. So you can see I did a 7. So far, any issues so far? So you can see that if you enter day 1, it will only go and do this part and it will come out. But if you enter instead of day 3 here, it won't go here, it won't go here, but it will go here, and then it will print appropriate day. But what if you enter 14? If you enter 14, what will happen? Error. So there is a concept called default. So we'll say default and we'll say S out wrong value. and will come out. That's called default. So here, my program is pretty good. Let's say for learning purpose, I'm going to do 3. And I'll save it. And now I run the program and you will see how easy it is. So as I run my program, you can see very soon it will go to case 1, it won't run. Case 2, it won't run. In case 3, it match. So it will say Wednesday. So you will see right away the answer, case 3.
I'm sorry, I missed that. What was about the default?
Default means wrong value.
So you wrote it or?
I wrote.
Thread?
I type this thing, right? Because if somebody enter wrong value, then I would say, hey, you enter wrong value, right? Make sense or not? I had 3, so it did not go here. It did not go here, but it went here. Do you guys agree or not? But let's say if I do 30, what will happen? So it will automatically go here because none of this case match, right? So let's run 30 and see what happens. So you will get correct answer. Default value, wrong value, boom, you will get that answer. Switch is so simple. You can easily read about it, right? It's very simple compared to if, because if is kind of more conditions, more curly bracket and all. Here, switch itself is its own curly bracket, but switch gets through the parameter. And then you check that at single point of time, only one will work from this. Any questions so far? Now there are 4 or 5 questions are very popular, and I'm going to cover that once you are done with the writing 30. So please pay attention. The first question they ask about if you enter wrong value. This is what interview question they ask. Sometimes they check your knowledge, right? If you enter 15, what would be the answer? Wrong value. Why? Because it is not matching any case. Let's say if I enter 6, what would be the answer? Right, very good. Now, sometimes you may have short circuit, means 1 and 2, you want same answer. 1 and 2, you want same answer. You can write this thing, that's called duplicate. But what happens is if you want 1 and 2 same answer, then just don't write this thing like this. Then 1, it will automatically go to 2. Because if there is no break, listen carefully, very important. If there is no break, 1 will automatically go to 2. If I want 1 and 3, 2 and 1, 2 and 3 should get the same answer. So if you want 1, you want 2 and 3, listen carefully. So you are entering 1. If you're entering 1, and if you don't do break, it will automatically go to the next one. And if you don't do break, it will go to next one automatically. So this is very popular question in interviews. So example, check it out. I'm going to do here 1. And I forgot to do break. See here what happened. I forgot to do break. So what happened? It will definitely do this and it will go here as well because it's a short circuit. There is no break. So it will go to next. So I will see 2 statements and then break. So it will come out. If I remove this break, then it will go here, then here, and then here. Make sense or not? So see here yourself. 1, when I'm doing 1, I'm going to get 2 answers. And you say, why am I getting 2 answers? This is logical error. Yes or no? Program works, but produce wrong result. And this is very peculiar thing because you made a typo and suddenly you end up getting result. If you do not know how it works, then you will not know because it will take time for you to debug. And many people make this mistake. See here, I got 2. The reason they made a mistake that they thought they wrote case 1, so they're supposed to get this answer. But there is a break needed. If you don't do break, switch statement automatically does short circuit. Make sense? Any questions? So these are like questions people ask. Switch statement, it has its own curly bracket and it's closing curly bracket. So switch statements is like that. Sometimes they ask, here you cannot write condition. You cannot write day greater than 5, day less than 5. You cannot write. You can write integer or character. Make sense? So like when you're playing game, you might be using up arrow, down arrow, side arrow, or side arrow. Yes or no? So when you play the game, when you do use up arrow, you are using one case. In that case, system will go maybe 20 steps up. Make sense or no? But let's say you do side arrow, then system will go left side 20 step. Make sense? If you do right arrow, then system will go 20 steps right side. Are we understanding? So when you play game, you're using actually case. And so case statement is very popular, very easy based on what you are doing. If you know one action only going to happen, then people use case statements. If you need multiple app, then you should use if statements. Question, concerns, doubt. Yes, Ola, go ahead.
Yes, hold on. My question is, where is this switch statement applied in the real world so that we can have a better understanding? And secondly, my question is, can we have a kind of a complex example, just like the first one we did, like the grade? Like, can we have a complex example, not just one variable, and
So switch statement is always simpler because your Ola, you have a house, right?
yes,
Or apartment. You live in a house or apartment?
an apartment.
Okay. So when you see your wall, you will have a switch statement. Switch.
Okay.
Is it complex or how easy it is?
Yeah,
How many
it's
switches?
a
How many
simple-
switches you have? Thousands, 10,000 or 5?
Might be 1 or 2 or 3.
That's called simple. So switch statement never get complex. If it is get complex, you should use if statement, which we covered last. Because switch statement by default is simple. Make sense? Because when you see switch, if you think thousands of switch, which button to press? Do you guys agree or not? In that case, you should use if statement. In your switchboard, you should only have a few switches. If you have 1,000, that's not gonna, case statement is not gonna help because who is gonna remember all 1,000 switches? You guys remember? At least I don't. Do you guys agree? So by default, Ola, switch statement is simpler. And while you're asking question, I was talking about game. I'm hoping you play game with the keyboard or V. You might have some control, right? Yes or no?
Yeah.
And that control I was explaining, that's a real life control, right? When you do left, your character is moving on left side, yes or no?
Mm-hmm.
You might have seen, right? Jumping around, moving around, yes or no? Those
Yeah.
are switch statement because when you do left, you are not going on the right? And when you do up, you're not going down. So that is also switch statement. Then before I started, I gave 6 examples if you have paid attention. Let me remind you. Elevator. Did I say yes or no? Ola? Elevator? You just joined or what?
No, I've been here. Maybe I didn't.
Yeah. So let me ask others. How many examples I gave you? Elevator is a real life, yes or no? And when you go to elevator, you will think about which button to press or just you press one button. That's one switch statement, yes or no? What other example I gave? McDonald's. When you go to McDonald's, you say, I need number 6. What is number 6? Is veggie, McD. They call McD, but you have to ask veggie, otherwise you will get meat in that. Then I ask about ATM. Do you guys agree or not? What is that? That's a real life. In ATM, you have option withdraw, check status, transfer, deposit. You can't do both operations at the same time. Do you guys agree or not? Right? So these are real life examples. When you are using remote in your TV, there are buttons are there, right? Those all buttons are switch statement. When you are calling somebody on phone, a pressing button, right? 2, 2, 4, those are switch statements. Do you guys agree? So switch statement is every day you are using. Every day when you use remote, when you are using switchboard, when you are using elevator, when you are using ATM, when you are going to subway, when you go to bank, you are using switch statement. It is so simple that you don't even realize that you're using it. Make sense or no? There is no complexity in a switch statement. It is all simplicity. That's why switch statement is quite simple. Make sense? I think there was a question on phone.
I have a question.
Sure.
So can a switch and if multiple is used in same program?
Yeah.
So you give an example.
Sorry, could you repeat the question again?
Can a switch and a multiple if used in same program?
Yeah. So here,
Like,
let's say I can here like example Monday, and then I can use if, I can use if statement, right? Like that, and I can have a condition. So like example, if it is Monday and time is less than 10, right? Right? Then I can say S out, right? I can say S out, bank is closed, right? Something like that, right? Makes sense or no? So you can use whatever you want here, your conditions like that. So you're using if statement, right? And you're checking the time. If time is less than 10, then the bank is closed, right? Another thing, example. So here, let's say example, you're going for a movie theater. If anyone go to movie theater, did anyone go recently? Yeah, so if you go to movie theater and you are buying tickets, right? How will you buy tickets?
So when you go to the counter, they show you the screen.
Screen. Wait a minute. So you get a screen, right? So like let's assume screens. So they have a screen. You want screen 1, screen 2, screen 3. Yes or no? And I'm hoping you cannot watch movie at the same time, 2 screens. Do you get a pick? So let's assume you like 1 screen. So you pick screen 3. Yes or no? Then what you do? Not select the C, you select the show, right? What is show means? Show is, let's say 9 to 11, 11 to 2, yes or no? But let's say right now you're 10 o'clock and show started 9 to 11, and so another show start 11 to 1, and you are at 10 a.m. Would you be able to join, or you have to wait? Make sense? So that's the if conditions. So if time is before, after, during, you have to check that. What is your time? If your time match between 9 to 11, then you can start if you want, but half movie gone. Yes or no? Or you can say which one is the next one, and you will book ticket for that show. Make sense? So in that case, Kavita, you're using first screen as a case statement, and then you're using if for your condition statement.
okay.
So you can do that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, that is actually I've been following, but that is example of a complex example that I was talking about. You know, and
There is no
yeah,
complex example in Switch, my friend.
well,
Complex.
that is just maybe that is why maybe I'm making a mistake in putting the words together. But please, the example you just cited just now, can you put it in a typical example and use it to write code so that we could understand?
Sorry, could you repeat again?
Can you write the code for the example you just gave?
Right now, I cannot write because I have a specific structure. But in your project, I'll help you to do project structure. In project, exactly you will do that, and you will write that. Because what happening is, in a project, you are going to create a bank management system, and you will be writing that. That exactly you will write, and I'll show you step by step. But right now, what happened? I have a looping system to cover. If I do that, it will go to if statement deeper, right? So anytime you do the complex aspect, that we call project. So that's why we're going to give you project. I'll show you how project it is. So in project, you will ask user, what is your account? What you want to do? Deposit, transfer. How much you want to deposit? You will write that. And that requires a little time. If I go in the middle of that, I might lose people, right? So I have to go a little structure process. But definitely you and your group will do the project aspects for that. And before we end the class, I'll show you what is the project. You will have more fun. Make sure you use just like a real bank works. Then you will be able to write those conditions, because programming itself is not complex. What you are saying is, how do I combine that? That's what you're saying. There is nothing complex. It's combining. Just like Kavita asked, how can I combine case statement with if statement? But what if I combine loop statement, if statement, switch statement, loop statement, if statement? Now these are becoming combined. So it's not a complex, it's just a combine. So when you do combining nature, that is your project. And that's why we'll give you 4 or 5 weeks to do that part. Make sense or no? I'll cover that part, which I have some example which will help all of you, but I don't want to cut the different segment. I want to make sure we move to the next, which is the loop statement. Any other questions? So far, so good? Okay. Now we are almost in a break time, but I want to cover the loop statement before.